Good morning, students. How are you all? Hope you all are fine at home. So, welcome back to our class. Today, we will study poem 3 Rain on the Roof in this lecture. So, let's get started. At first, I will discuss with you the central idea of this poem. Then, we'll read each stanza and explain them with its poetic devices, and please note down the word meanings in your notebook. So let's start. The central idea of the poem. This poem tells us what the poet is thinking about when he hears the sound of the rain falling. The poem praises the healing power of nature's rain, especially when heard from a cozy bed in a lovely cottage. The poet says that it is pleasant to live and sleep comfortably in a cottage on a rainy night, when the tinkle of the rain brings dreamy fancies and he recollects fond memories of the past. The rain is thus an instrument of beautiful memories of the past years. The sound of rain falling takes the poet to his childhood when the fondest memory of his mother is stirred before him in all her gentle loveliness. Now, let's begin our poem. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry spheres, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears, what a bliss to press the pillow of a cottage chamber bed and lie listening to the patter of the soft rain overhead. At first, we will see the meanings. Humid shadows means clouds. Hover means hang. Starry spheres means stars. Melancholy means sad. Bliss means utmost joy. Cottage chamber, room in a cottage. Patter means sound of rain falling on the roof. Overhead means above. Now let's see the explanation of this stanza. So listen carefully. In this stanza, the poet says that stars of the sky are not visible, being covered by clouds. He says that the darkness is making him sad and reflective, and the rain also seems to mirror his emotions as it looks like tears falling softly from human eyes. The only thing that can bring joy to the poet is to curl up with a pillow in the bed of a rural cottage. Though the rooms of the cottage may be small and ill equipped, the sound of raindrops can enable him to recover from his sad and gloomy mood. Now, let's see the poetic devices used in stanza 1. It is transferred epithet, a figure of speech in which an epithet or adjective grammatically qualifies a noun other than the person or thing is actually describing. In this stanza, the poet transfers his melancholic mood from himself to the darkness of the night in which the poem is set. Then, line 1 of this stanza, when the humid shadows hover, the humid property of the clouds of transfer to shadows. Personification, a figure of speech which is used for an inanimate object or animal, birds look or feel human. Line 3 4, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in the form of rainy tears. The poet personifies darkness by giving the human ability to shed tears. Metaphor, a device which compares two things or qualities which are unlike. In this stanza, line 1, when the humid shadows hover, the word shadows actually means clouds. Alliteration, repetition of initial consonant sounds in the same line in this stanza, line 1, when the humid shadows hover. Humid and hover have the similar first syllable. Let's go on second stanza. Every tinkle on the shingles has an echo in the heart, and 1,000 dreamy fancies into busy being start, and 1,000 recollections wave their air threads into woof, as I listen to the patter of the rain upon the roof. Now let's see the word meanings of this stanza. Tinkle means ringing sound. Shingles means rectangular tiles used on sloping roofs. Echo means reverberation. Dreamy fancies into busy being means imaginary stories. Recollections means memories, remembrances. Air threads means dreamy memories. Into whoop means become and divine. Now, let me explain this stanza. In this stanza, the poet describes how the raindrops make a tinkling sound as they fall on the shingles of the roof. Each sound made by the rain is repeated the next instant by the beating of his heart. What he has only been imagining till now starts appearing before his eyes as he is listening to the soft and continuous falling of the raindrops on his roof. All his memories came back to him, but they are not discrete and separated from each other. Instead, these memories have formed a patchwork. By becoming entwined with one another, the memories are large in numbers and have formed a cluster in his mind. Now, let's see the poetic devices used in this stanza. In this stanza, lines 13, 14, and 1,000 recollections weave their bright hues into wove. The poet compares his memories to fabric that is being woven with many colored threads together. So, it's a metaphor. Then, in this stanza, the word tinkle is used that imitates the real sound of the rain falling on the shingles of the roof. So, it's an onomatopoeia. Let's see the third stanza of this poem. Now in memory comes my mother, as she used in years agone, to regard the darling dreamers as left them till the dawn. Oh, I feel her fond look on me as I list to this refrain, which is played upon the shingles by the patter of the rain. Let's learn the word meanings of this stanza. In memory comes I remember. Agone, gone by. Regard, observe. The darling dreamers means her sleeping children. Air, before. Down, morning. List, listen. Refrain, part of song that repeating. Now, let's see the explanation. In this stanza, the poet describes the first memory that he can actually identify among the patchwork of his memories. He remembers that during his childhood, his mother used to look at him and his siblings as they were sleeping and having pleasant dreams. His mother would make a point to look at them every night, for she knew she would not see them again till the next morning. His mother would bend down and watch over him in particular. These memories are evoked as he listens to the repetitive rhythm of the raindrops as they are falling on his roof. Now, let's see the poetic devices used in this stanza. In this stanza, line 18, to survey her darling dreamers is a metaphor for her children who are asleep and probably dreaming. Let's see the common poetic devices used in each stanza. It's a refrain, a phrase, verse, or group of verses repeated in intervals throughout a song or poem, especially at the end of the stanza. At the end of each stanza, the patter of the rain is repeated in this poem. In each stanza, the word patter is used that imitates the real sound of the rain falling, so it's an onomatopoeia. So students, here I am going to finish our lecture. I hope you all have understood very well. Thank you so much. I hope you all have enjoyed this lecture.